Hey folks, Jimmy here, aka Pallet of the Dead. Welcome back to the channel and welcome to the latest issue of Warhammer 40k Imperium magazine. Now, as per usual with all these videos, if you like them, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and of course drop a comment down below. I love hearing back from you guys and it goes a massive way to helping the channel too. Now, this week we're on issue 74 of Imperium magazine and we have our Firestrike servo turret from a Space Marine range, a fairly decent deployable kind of heavy fire support weapon, so pretty damn cool. Two weapon choices to choose from, so you have the twin auto cannons or twin las cannons, entirely up to you, or why not just make it so they're hot swappable, so you can swap them out depending on what battle and what situation you prefer to have. Entirely up to you if you want to try and do that, or if you want, get multiple copies and have two, why not? So pretty good stuff, fairly decent bit of kit. Into the issue we go over. We're of course greeted by our Firestrike servo turret, a deployable support weapon. This turret weapon is designed to be deployed alongside Space Marine strike forces, granting them extra firepower and allowing them to establish and hold forward defensive positions. It may be slow moving, but the Firestrike servo turret can lay down a punishing base of fire. So, with the good old Firestrike servo turret, they are normally manned by a tech marine. So these are of course like most Space Marines, but they are vehicle kind of operated. So they are kind of a Space Marines who have been trained with the cult of Mechanicus on the surface of Mars and stuff like that. They are also equipped with a servo skull. They can have the twin accelerate auto cannons if you wish to. They also have gravity plates as well, so they can move forward just extremely slow. So they are not kind of in a fixed position with kind of like having to deploy and then kind of pack back up and then deploy again, that type of thing. So, but not bad, pretty decent. Of course, you can also have it with twin las talons if you wish to. Laser powered weapons, so entirely up to you. Really good stuff though. I like both weapons, in all honesty. I'm not going to lie to you. I actually like both weapons. They both look pretty decent, pretty different, pretty gnarly. Yeah, I'm not sure which one I'm going to go for yet, but they are pretty cool. But yeah, you can also use the parts and, as I say, try and make it so it's swappable if you wish to. Maybe a magnet involved in it or two, but yeah, you can do it. Entirely up to you though. Right, so with the battle record, of course, you can name the tech marine, you can give it a turret designation, you can even have war gear details as well, so including fortified positions, bring it down and holding your ground. Yeah, it's up to you how you record all of this stuff, but yeah, not too bad really. Then we move on. We actually have a story this week, and we don't have much of like the heroes or anything like that like we have been over the past few weeks. We have a story, The Fall of Dominor. So, Khorne demands blood. On the blood-soaked surface of Dominor, Chaos Space Marines of the World Eaters and their demonic allies descend upon the planet's last remaining defenders, the hated Blood Angels. The Berserkers have been unleashed, the corpse Emperor's whelps must be destroyed. So, a story all about the Blood Angels and the attacks on them from the World Eaters. Pretty good. I kind of like World Eaters. They're a bit different. They're pretty, and you know, they look like a pretty half decent set of Space Marines, Chaos Space Marines. So they're not too bad. This story is more pages than normal. Normally we only get like 2 pages. We have a first page and a second page. With this one, it's actually a bit of a chunkier story. So really good stuff, and definitely worth it because you get some nice artwork out of it as well. So definitely worth having a read through if you like your fiction. This could be a nice little bit of lore for you to kind of learn up and read up on. Then we can move on, we get more information about other factions, and this is the Chaos Demons of Khorne. Obviously, Chaos Demons of Khorne include things like Bloodthirsters, and one of the main Bloodthirsters known as Scarbrand, who is a pretty tough one and has been around for quite a long time. They are, of course, the kind of the very ones that are very heavily focused on just basically killing anything and everything. You know, you may have heard of Schools for the Skull Throne, Blood for the Blood God and stuff like that, or the opposite way around, which is all to do with Khorne. Khorne is all about blood worship and slaughter and everything like that, and basically being ravenous, destruction, kind of destructive very force of chaos. And yeah, they're really good. So pretty decent, pretty cool stuff as well. Then we move on. We get one of the heroes from Space Marines instead. So we kind of put the pages more backwards than normal. So this is Ulrich the Slayer, the Wolf High Priest. So aside from the chapter's ancient dreadnoughts, Ulrich the Slayer is the eldest of the Space Wolves. He has mentored some of the greatest champions Fenris has ever produced. He has fought for the Imperium for almost 1,000 years, and still retains the ferocity he possessed as a youth. So, obviously Space Marines are blessed with long life, these pretty damn gnarly superhuman feats as well that they can do, including living for very, very long times, including Ulrich the Slayer. And of course, he does have some pretty damn cool iconography as well. He looks pretty damn good. I must admit, he's a pretty cool boy, ain't he? I do like the good old Space Wolves. They're probably one of my favourite chapters from the entire Space Marine range. And yeah, he's a cool boy, really, ain't he? He's just a big one. But really, really good stuff. You also get, on the other side of it, you get Bjorn the Fell-Handed, last of the company of Russ. So, Bjorn the Fell-Handed is the oldest warrior in the Imperium, save for Rabute Gilliman. The remains of his physical form are interred within an ancient dreadnought. He is a living link to the Space Wolves' deep past, and the last Space Wolf to have fought at the side of a Space Wolves Primarch, Lehman Russ. So, obviously with this one, he is inside the sarcophagus, which is held within the kind of the body and mantle of the dreadnought, and they're kind of interred there. So, and their psyche is basically utilised within the dreadnought, and the dreadnought is controlled by their dead kind of selves. It's very, very weird, but the dreadnoughts are pretty cool, and Space Wolves are pretty cool. So having a Space Wolf dreadnought is pretty damn good. So really, really cool stuff. And a bit more information about Space Wolves is always really, really nice, because they are, I say, to me, one of my favourite chapters from the entire Space Marines. So really cool. Then we move on. We have our how to build section. It's relatively easy. I don't think you're going to have a problem with it. Fairly straightforward. Up to you when you're gluing these pieces together. So for instance, for cannons, if you don't want to fully glue them, don't. You could literally, you can just push fit these pieces. They won't sit very, very well all the time. And if you want to, you can magnetise it. Now, I'm not going to lie, magnetising it might be a little bit tricky. You will need to make sure you have the right size magnets, and you are going to need some pretty skinny magnets to get into there. It's one of the things, if you're feeling brave and optimistic, or you have experience doing it, brilliant. If you don't have experience doing it, it may or may not be worth risking on this model. Get some really, really dirt cheap models, and then maybe risk it. Entirely up to you though. If you go wrong though with any magnets and you're not happy with it, you can always just glue it in place and just leave it. Entirely up to you, but you know, you do have that option at the end of the day as well. So fairly straightforward. The base, obviously, as well, with the base, if you haven't noticed it as well with your issue, does have 3 holes in there. Now you'd think, why has it got 3 holes when it's got 4 feet? 2 holes will go into 2 of the feet will go into 2 of the holes, and then you also have that kind of a pile of rocks that goes into another one to add to your base. Yeah, fairly easy, fairly straightforward. You're not going to go wrong with that. It's just make sure that it holds it in the right place on the base. So yeah, happy days. Anyway, into the painting section, fairly straightforward. If you're painting for good old Ultramarines, it's bog standard. Dead easy. You're not going to go wrong. I'm absolutely sure of it. Yeah. If you're painting for anybody else, you're going to want to make sure that you're doing a Tech Marine with kind of the right colour. They generally do wear red armour because of being traded on Mars. Yeah, entirely up to you though. But I personally, I am going to do a red armoured Tech Marine because he's a Tech Marine at the end of the day, and he needs to stand out from the rest of my army and stuff like that, so makes it really good. But otherwise, a fairly straightforward step-by-step guide, dead easy. You're not going to go wrong with it. I'm absolutely sure. I have utmost faith in you to make some pretty damn cool looking minis. But otherwise, when it's all done, it actually looks pretty good, doesn't it? It's not a bad little bit of kit, considering it is a turret and it looks a bit off. But anyway, really, really good stuff. Then you get your datasheet, of course, for the turret. So as I say, it does move. It has a movement range of 3 inches per turn, which is pretty poor, but it has a pretty gnarly range. 48 inches if you are using the auto cannon. If you're using the twin last cannon, 24 inches. Pretty damn good. In all honesty, they pack a bit of a punch. So you may not be able to move very fast, but you do pack a bit of range. So pretty damn good. So definitely worth blasting through with that. And then obviously you've got your deployment tutorials and stuff like that as well on there. So depending on how you deploy and the spread of fire and stuff like that, you may need to kind of utilise that and make sure you're using the right range and much more. But really, really good stuff. Then we move on, we get our mission for the week. So you get your veteran page as per usual. For the mission, surprise attack, 75 power. Entirely up to you how you build your force. But otherwise you're using 4 maps that we've had in the past. Deploy them as it shows. And you have deployment zones on each, 5 objectives. Really, really good and pretty damn cool. And then next week we have our last bit of scenery. It is the Heliotrope reactor. They're not too bad, are they? They're kind of a nice little bit of kit. Fairly straightforward to paint. Paint it the same way as you did your last one. So I mean, it was ages ago when we had the last one. So if you remember how to paint it, you know, happy days. If you don't, then yeah, just look at what colours it is and go from there. And you more than likely going to be right. Issue 76 is our Invader in ATV as well. We are getting towards the end of the original 80 issue run. Really, really cool stuff. So issue 76 is your ATV. Then we have Necrons again. So we have part 1 and part 2 in 77 and 78 of our command barge or annihilation barge, whichever one you want to make. And then finally issue 79 and 80 is Riptide Guilliman, the Primarch of the Ultramarines, a really cool model in all honesty. But then of course we don't just stop there, we actually go to issue 90 where we've got Paragon Warsuits, we've got more a Dreadnought, we've got more Necrons, we've got another good old Adeptus Mechanicus boy, we have an Inquisitor. It's really good stuff in all honesty. And then of course this month it is now, really, it's 2 weeks away. Good old Warhammer Age of Sigmar Stormbringer magazine will be out as well, or should be out, fingers crossed, all being well. Issue 1 should be out, and that'll be really, really cool, and I'm looking forward to that, and I genuinely hope to see all you guys there soon as well with them videos, because I will do videos on those. But otherwise, no, this magazine's been really good. It's been a nice fun ride into the 41st millennium, considering I don't know huge amounts about it myself, and so it's been a nice learning experience. So really, really good stuff. But with all that said, thank you very, very much for watching, and I'll see you sometime soon. Bye bye now.